Howdy folks, TJ here. Ask away number 2. I received more questions than expected. It wasn't just the one from my mom saying, make sure to pack your underwear. I received quite a few questions. So this may take me a number of attempts to read off the question, make a video. The last one was like 25 minutes long. So I don't know how long I'll go on this one, but I've got quite a few more questions that I'll do my best to answer. Some of them silly, some of them real questions. So let me scroll down to the bottom of the list and try to remember where I left off. And there will be a few probably not repeats, but folks that have asked questions, and I'm just going to try to go in order as best as I can. And this funny one, the first one is from Casey Nidal. He says, how old were you when you first said bastard? And then Bryce Thompson underneath said, did he say something? Oh, I think he said something like, right as I came out from the birth canal. Let me go see if no, it doesn't show. I forgot what it said. Something like when I first came out. When did I first say bastard? I don't remember. I say it a lot in my current videos. It just seems to be my go-to word because it's really not a bad word in my opinion. It's an official word that you can use, kind of like bitch. Bitch is a female dog, right? So if you're along outside with dog breeders, you'll hear them use the word bitch. Now, bastard's a little different. But yeah, when did I say it? I don't remember. Probably in the olden days, if I said swear words, my mom would clean my mouth out with soap. So I come from the age, and it wasn't your little dainty soap from this day and age. It was full borax, gritty, whatever the hell the name of the soap was. It was gritty, and you get it caked in there and on your teeth, and it wasn't enjoyable. Yeah, I got whoopings, so bastard, yeah, I don't remember. So that was a silly question, I'm sure, but there's an answer for you anyway. Bacon Ice Cream Productions, and that's Rich Haywood. He asks, hey TJ, what a cool idea, which thank you. Yeah, I see other people doing it, so not necessarily an idea I came up with, but I've seen plenty of folks on the YouTubes do that. I hate when people call it the YouTubes, but I do it too, so I guess I hate myself. My question is about your laser disc collection. Cool. So if you watch some of my videos, you know that I have a pretty decent laser disc collection. How's it going since the last update? And do you have any tips for people that may be looking to get into collecting? Thanks, my friend. So, I forget where I ended an account, but I have near 1,000 laser discs. And how I acquired most of them was one big bulk purchase that I had to drive about a 3-hour drive to the Bay Area. And with that came 700 and some odd laser discs in various conditions. Unfortunately, the previous owner or previous owners before him had cats. And I think some cats whizzed on some things. And cat whiz is not very pleasurable. But enough airing out in the garage for a while and such. It's a decent collection that I have with a lot of movies I would have never purchased, but now I own, so it may be interesting to watch. So, collection is about the same. I think I've only, since my last videos, purchased a few extras. Wife wanted, I think, Xanadu, for example. So we periodically buy just onesie-twosies. I would like to collect Hackers. Hackers is one of those that has kind of escalated in price, and I love the movie Hackers. So I'd like to get that one. But my collection stays about the same. For folks that are looking to get into it, to tell you the truth, if you want high-definition video, it's not for you. It's not a Blu-ray. It's below DVD a little bit and above VHS. But the sound quality is tremendous. So if you have a nice audio system you can connect it to, there's neat things you could do with laser discs for audio. And also for video, you can actually, on some units, go and find an exact image that you would like to lock into and see it in nice high, DVD, less than DVD quality. So laser discs have kind of that unique feature where you can go picture by picture on some of the things. But to be truthful, it's an antiquated, no one makes laser discs anymore. No one makes laser disc players. So what's happening is when one fails, there used to be people that repaired them. pretty much I think that's no longer. I'd have to ask my buddy Mike Brantley. Hi Mike, if you're watching this. He's the one that kind of introduced me to laser discs. I think he used to send his off to somebody to get repaired, and I think that has since dried up. So when one fails, unless you're an electronic repair specialist that knows laser discs, it kind of becomes the end of the road. So people like myself try to buy extra used ones as you can, because one day you may have to do that. So it's can be expensive. It can be cheap. If you fall right onto the right deal, like anything else, you can get a great laser disc player for relatively cheap. Odds are it may eventually, it's old technology and it's old like the rest of us, so it may fail, and so have some backups. The laser discs are pretty rugged, but there is disc rot that can happen. So if your laser disc gets disc rot, and it is common on certain, I guess, manufacturers at a time, if you get this particular one, the odds are it's going to get disc rot, and then you start getting anomalies on the screen and poor quality, and it just gets worse. So disc rot's an issue with laser discs, but like anything else, you know, you kind of go with the punches. You buy retro vintage computers, and unless you know how to repair them yourself, you have to send it off to somebody, or somebody that you know is willing to do it for you. So, but it's fun, and it's got big album-size boxes. I don't think you call it boxes, but sleeves that you can fit, and it's fun. Good old albums. Part of the fun was buying the album cover, right? So with these big old things, it's much bigger than a little DVD or Blu-ray. It's a big whopping thing that you can look through. Some of them are more elaborate than others, and you can open them up and read a story and all sorts of stuff. So it's fun. It can be expensive in some cases, and in other cases you might just fall on the right deal, and if you can find a good player that's working with a little collection, get started and enjoy yourself. So that's where I stand right now on laser discs. I have a lot. I've got them nice and displayed in some IKEA these shelves that you can buy that fit albums or laser discs just perfectly. I've got those out there, and I've got pretty much most all the collection in the house now. Thanks, Rich, for the cool question. Let's see, what else do we have? Tetley, and I've done one for him already. Looking sharp there, by the way, TJ. I don't say it was me, or don't say it was me. Oh, okay. He's saying I look good because, look, I got my hair cut just for you guys. I wanted to look pretty. I'm kind of like Hugo, the man of many faces. And unless you're my age, you won't remember that game. If it's a game, a thing that kids could buy and tinker with. But type in Hugo, the man of many faces, and I think you'll see what I'm talking about. Andrew Norris. Let's see if he has got a question. No problem if you don't want to answer. It's just something I'm curious about. Question, you look so happy. Do you have a secret? I know you said you got into the specky for the people. Perhaps your good mood is because you value positive interactions with people. Sorry if this all seems to simplify labeling. I know we are all very complex, ain't that the truth? And perhaps simple too at higher levels. So, obviously when you're doing some video, you try to be in a good mood that day. Because who wants to see a video of you pissed off all the time? So, you know, there's always that little bit of flavor that most anybody, whether you're making a movie, you're a news anchor, anything, doing an interview, you try to show your better self, per se. So that helps. But in general, I'm typically in a pretty good mood. I am typically loud. I'm Italian and Portuguese, and typically, stereotyping, we are loud. But I have my down days, and I've said in videos in the past, I have my down days and sad days and all those type of things wrapped up in one, as you do, as everybody else does. Obviously, those days I try not to make a video, but I just did a video on the passing of a internet friend, Andy Remick, and at the end of it I cried, you know, and he's not really a close friend, a family friend that I've had since a kid, but he's somebody I met through the specky scene, and I felt like, you know, over the internet, I got to know him and his family a little bit, and it was sad. So I do also videos when I'm sad, but typically, yeah, I have my down days just like anybody else, and after I turn off this recording, I've got, you know, life in general can be tough. And I try to look at the positives of everything, because if you hanker on the negatives, what a sad, lonely life you're going to have, right? I mean, there's some folks that have sicknesses and such that, you know, you got to feel bad for, and it's not them per se that's causing the issues or some ailments or something. But no matter what cards are dealt. Try to have a positive attitude is the way I look at it. And I've had my share of shit hit the fan, as has my wife and friends and family, and yeah, it's never fun. But yeah, I try to be positive and happy through most everything. And if it's just one of those days, it's not bad to just go outside and sit in peace and serenity with wind blowing through the trees and just kind of think about things for a little bit and collect your thoughts and kind of try to move on and be positive about things. So yeah, but I am generally just like this. You know, some people probably question, is TJ really that, hyper and happy most of the time? Pretty much every video you see, it's hard to fake that stuff. Just like me crying the other day. I'm not an actor. I can't spur on a moment and cry. So I try to just show my real self. And yeah, I'm typically, I try to make people laugh. I try to have fun. I try to be happy. And it's just the way I am. Yeah. And you can ask any friends, they'll probably agree about that. So cool. Thanks for the question, Andrew. Let's see. Recipe Bob. Good old Bob Bo. Bob Boo is the proper pronunciation, but I was saying Bob Bo. I don't know why. But Bob Boo, I admit I've never watched any of your Tenkara videos. What exactly do you do for the company? So I, in my professional life, am a fly fisherman in the Tenkara style. Not really, but yes, I do work for a company that specializes in fly rods that use no reel. And I was pretty much with them very early on in their introduction of this method to the United States. So I handle all of their customer service. So I created the department and kind of run it to this day. Relatively small company. We're not huge. So we're the type that even though you're a manager, a director, you do the work also. So it's not just you saying barking orders at somebody. You do most of it. So I answer calls. I enter orders. I do anything customer service related for the company. So yeah, thanks for asking, Bob. So yeah, Tenkara, wonderful, fun, easy, generally, way to fly fish. You don't need all the $1,000 worth of gear to get out there and fly fish. And these Tenkara rods are telescopic, so they can be as small as 15 inches when closed, yet open up to 10 feet long, 11 feet long, some longer. They're telescopic. They're no reel. It's a short, small stream type of method of fly fishing for the mountain streams, but you can use them in ponds and other stuff. And if you're going after smaller trout and bluegill and crappie and bass and stuff like that, not big salmon or steelhead, you can use one of these rods, deploy your rod in 30 seconds and be fishing. When if you're using a Western fly rod, which has multiple parts you put together, and you have to get the line off the reel and feed it through the eyes and get your line all connected, that takes the average probably person that knows what they're doing 5, 10, 15 minutes. And as you get older, you have a hard time seeing and your fingers don't do what your brain tells them to do. So it can take longer. Tenkara, telescopic device like an antenna of an old car, connect your line, and you're ready to fish. It's a wonderful way to fly fish. And if you ever have any questions about fly fishing Tenkara, ask. I'm happy to help. So some of my videos, you'll see once in a while me do a video on that. So thanks for asking that, Bob. Roy Templeman. Now, he asked a lot of questions. He's got some silly ones and some real ones, so I may have to glance over a few. But let's see if this first one. If the wee blue key and the specky next got together, so this is, I can already tell I'm getting a little silly. What would their offspring be like? A black computer with blue keys. Speckies are black, right? The average normal specky. That's what's sexy about the specky. I love black computers, and I do like blue keys on computers too. Although the Auric Atmos has a reddish orange key that does look damn sexy. But yeah, so I think you would have a black computer with blue keys, but yeah, it would still have a Z80 processor. Even though there is a Z80 in the Aquarius though, right? But there's some other blue key computers that are probably the 6500 whatever 3 or whatever they are, 03, 05, all sorts of them. You would know, Roy, because you own every single one of them. Okay, so lots more. So let's see. Then he asks, this is the smart ass question from Roy. What is the square root of 96? And my answer to him immediately was, TJ, don't do math. I'm good at numbers in general for work, and you being able to say, TJ, how many of this do you have? boom, I can think of it and I can tell you. I'm good at that type of thing. But if you said, TJ, I'm doing my taxes right now, and I want to know what the 401k or the 1099 of this is, and I'd sit there and go, just like that. I look in, my mind goes blank. I do not like those type of numbers. So yeah, I gave him a smart ass answer back. I don't do math questions, period. Let's see, what else? Roy Templeman did ask, have you managed to get into repairing your machines? Have you tried soldering, fix that micro expander yet? So, kinda. So, if you watch some of my recent videos, I did buy a soldering station, my first. Prior to that, I had a 1990s little stick that got hot and kind of could put solder on a spot, and I used it very sparingly. The last time it was about 5 years ago. So have I repaired any of my machines? No, I've done no component level machine fixing. I don't know what I'm doing. Will I like to learn? Absolutely. That's why I bought the soldering station. But the closest I've got is that micro expander. I've had to send it off to a friend that does Aquarius stuff because my little leg fix, so I did get my soldering station out. I did successfully, to my knowledge, fix the leg that was broken on it, but it's still not working right, and he's received it, and it started working and then it stopped. So there is an issue with it that goes beyond my scope. So I don't know yet. We'll see as time goes on if we can come up with an answer on getting it fixed. But yeah, I haven't repaired anything yet. I know capacitors on old computers do need to be replaced and such. That's why I bought the station. I'm going to order a little Christmas tree LED soldering kit on Amazon next time I have a few extra pennies. They're only like 15 bucks. That will allow me to make this little LED Christmas tree that plugs into a USB jack for Christmas. And help me do soldering, because that leg fix that I did, my eyes are terrible, I couldn't see, and I was trying to do it, and it's the first one in 5 years. It was a little chaotic. So I need to work on a $15 device instead of a more expensive device. But over time, hopefully, with guidance from folks like you, like, hey, what do you do here, and what do I do there, and how do I get a meter out, and how do I touch this, and what am I expecting it to do? Those are all things that hopefully over time I'll learn, I'll ask questions, and folks like you that know may be able to help me out. So there you go. Let's see. I'll come back to this one at a future time. A smart ass one. We're going to go to Eric Lamb. 2 questions. What is your favorite adult beverage to drink while messing with old vintage retro computers and consoles? And number 2, when did I start the recording on this thing? I've been talking for 17 minutes. Sometimes I forget to turn, and I do that frequently. And that's why I check every time I remember to ask myself. And number 2, when are we going to get some Commodore love on this channel? I don't hate Commodore. I don't hate any computer platform. I was an Atarian, so naturally, and I was never one, even back in the day, that said Commodore sucked. In my opinion, every computer was fabulous. I just happened to have liked Atari for computers. The power without the price grabbed my huevos and said, this is the one for you. Commodore Amigas were much more expensive. So when I was ready to get and also the Atari 800 came out before the Commodore 64, right? Even though the PET came out well before that, and I learned on a PET at school. Yeah, I was an Atari kid. Power without the price. But yeah, I don't know if I'll ever do Commodore stuff other than the next gen Amiga, and that's not Commodore. So no, I may never, unless I happen to, like, at some point get one in a bulk buy and just can't help myself and play with it. I don't know. Just not, when it comes to retro, the Atari's it for me, and all these other European sexy computers like the Sword. What is your favorite beverage? Anything that I can drink. I'm easy. I'm a slut when it comes to beer and all that stuff. I do like whiskey. I'm a fly tyer. I'm a fly fisherman. Fly fishing and whiskey kind of go hand in hand. So I do enjoy a nice whiskey along with anything. But when it comes to beer, I'm pretty easy. You know, as I'm getting older, I am preferring lighter beers now. I know true beer connoisseurs, you know, like the nice, thick, graggly lagers and really, I don't know my beers, to tell you the truth, all the different types. But when I go to a restaurant, if they have something that's got a nice, what's the word for it? Orangey look to it, weedy look to it. I like those. But I seriously don't know all the different beers out there. There's just so many microbrews. I don't remember all I know is that it looks good. I'm going to try it. And if it tastes good, great. I don't like really thick, chocolatey oil from my Volkswagen bus beers, if that makes sense. I like a little bit thinner, colorful, lighter beer. And any of them will do. I'm easy, generally. So, cool. So, thanks for asking, Mr. Eric. Let's see. Brendan Elton. Hey, TJ, what music do you like to listen to? My two favorite bands in the world, side by side, I can't say one is, in any given day, one is a little better than the other. Boston, from the 1970s, 80s, Boston, and Def Leppard. I was a kid of the 80s, so I was all over, sure, hair metal. Even though Def Leppard I don't consider hair metal, although they had the mullets and they had the long hair, they were, their influences were not, hair metal type of stuff. They came out before that, and, they started in the late 70s. So I love Def Leppard all the way back to their original EP, and still continue to love Def Leppard. They are probably, in fact, our high school float. For the senior year, my buddies and I did a Def Leppard with the Union Jack in toilet paper or whatever we used on the float that we had for the senior float. So yeah, I love me Def Leppard and Boston. Yeah, Boston is, like I said, it's on any given day, one is a little better than the other. I would say musically, both of them are just stellar. I just love Boston, and I love Def Leppard. So, but then I'm easy a lot. I like a lot of different music. I can like country. I can like. I'm not big in the rap, but there's some rap that sits with me perfectly fine. And there's classical, and I like a little kind of everything. And but I would say probably 80s music, 70s music, 60s music. And if I was a child, I was a kid in the 60s, but I would have loved the Summer of Love if I was a little older, but I was a little too young for the Summer of Love, but I remember it. And I remember dancing with Hare Krishnas. Believe it or not, I danced with some Hare Krishnas and my parents had to come grab me. I was pretty outgoing even back then as a kid. I was just friendly, just, hey, let's chat. I'll join your Hare Krishna, what the hell? Okay, so yeah, that's the type of music. Thanks, Brendan. Retro Tech Nerd. How do they get the caramel? These are all silly questions. So he says, how do you get the caramel inside of a caramel milk bar or caramel bar? How many licks does it take to get to the center of a Tootsie Roll Pop? That's 3. If you watched any TV as a kid in the 1970s, 80s, School of Rock, you would know the answer is 3. So you may not be my age. That one I have an answer for. 3. Watch the commercial. That will make absolute sense to you. How much could a woodchuck chuck if they were playing jumping jack? It wouldn't, because I would shoot it with my shotgun. Jumping jack, that son of a bastard! Oh, that game pisses me off. And the caramel bar, I can't even have an answer for that, because I'm not big in the caramel. I like chocolate. I'll eat caramel, no problem. I mean, look at me. I like any sweets, but I'm more of a chocolate person. Thanks, Retro Trek Nerd. Here are 2 questions from Chris L. Did you ever dial into BBSs back in the 80s? Oh, yeah, I did. And this is not a PG station, but sure, the asterisk hooters, I'll call them, owls, some of my other friends call them, those were wonderful in asterisk form. So absolutely I would dial in to BBSs. I was a kid in the 70s in Livermore, California, and I think one of the nearest BBSs that was of importance for the Atari was in Sacramento. And oh, so many times I dialed non-local calls and had huge phone bills. And like I said in previous, was it this video, last one? Our parents hit us as kids. If we're out of line, we got smacked. And I was smacked many a times for racking up the phone bill. So yes, I love bulletin boards. And that's why I kind of love if you're in Irata Online or using the FujiNet, where there's repositories for using old Ataris to connect and be able to grab programs and games and stuff. It's almost like a BBS, and some of Irata Online is really got such a flavor of a bulletin board that you're just not dialing into with a phone. We don't even have a landline here anymore. Even though the lining is all here, and we used the landline up until a few years ago, we are all wireless now. If it was cheaper, I would stick with having a landline too, because it comes in handy up here. So that was number one. What type of boards did I dial into? Any one that would let me in. What would you say is your prized possession on the technology side? This could include console, a game, or anything technology related. Thanks. I would have to say the Falcon. I was stupid to sell my other one, and I've now acquired one at almost twice the price, and I'm happy to have one again. Will it be used daily? No. I mean, most of my retro computers, I got so many 35 that I have to rotate between them, but it is picking a prize spot in my home office, so technically it gets used weekly. Right now, little things, because I'm still trying to get back into using my 1632-bit. I'm more of an 8-bit guy right now. That's what's... The 8-bit world is so wonderful. The things they're doing on it are so wonderful. Not saying the 1632 is not, but it seems like there's so many more things happening on the 8-bit side that's pushing the envelope that I'm gravitating most of my time like on the Speccy to it. But yeah, this is the prized possession right now, the Falcon. Yep. Cool. And so that answered that. How many minutes am I in? Am I going to have to do a third video? We are 26 minutes in, so we're going to end it here. There are some more questions, maybe another page or two worth, that I'll answer at another time. Thanks for watching this video. Hopefully you learned a little bit about me, TJ, and if you have more questions, best to answer them in my original video about Ask TJ Questions, because if you post them in these new answer questions, I may not see them as questions and glaze over them. So if you want to ask a question, probably go back to that video and post the question there. So I'll keep going back to that one and try to refresh where I left off. Anyway, thanks for watching the video, and have a wonderful... Maybe I should go back to one more. The Roy Templeman one. Didn't I say there was one I was going to overdo, and we can make this a 30-minute video? I know there was something. Oh, does the J in your name stand for Jumpin' Jack? And I said, hell no, haha. And it should be S for shotgun. I'm going to shoot any Jumpin' Jacks that piss me off, those bastards. Oh, Jumpin' Jack, that game's... I'm getting flustered just now thinking of Jumpin' Jack. The game is so hard, but the Atari version, if you watched my video, I made it through a complete level onto the next one, and I got pretty deep into the second one. So I prefer the Atari version so far out of all the Jumpin' Jacks. So J does not stand for Jumpin' Jack. It stands for... I'm not going to tell you. I'll let you figure it out.